What's up, everybody? Welcome to Couch Dimension, our video games podcast where we're talking about video games, video game news through a legal developer and player perspective. This week, we're doing Chill Dimension. So we're actually not talking about news at all. We're just bullshitting and having a good time. And we invite you to join us in chat to do that as well. So, without further ado, I would like to introduce my co-hosts.
Captain, I you chose this format to take.
I choose you.
Yell at me when I didn't even have a chance.
I'm yelling at it's your turn. Go. Go, co-host. Go.
This is energy you're bringing in today. Okay.
Tiny use confuse ray. It's super effective.
Okay, let's go then. Okay, I want
go for the eyes.
I want to go ahead and start by doing the most chill thing possible, checking your homework. So we have a video game book club thing because I still don't know what to call it because video game book club sounds stupid. So
it's technically also taken by the besties.
Well, Griffin McElroy can suck my ass. No, that's not true. I enjoy Griffin. Anyways, we'll figure out. That name is a placeholder, let's say. Anyways, a month ago, I assigned y'all the game Prey to check out. And yeah, I didn't get to play nearly as much as I want to because it's going to do a full replay, but other life commitments got in the way. And I did play some. I did a little bit of New Game Plus, or a decent amount, but not as much as I wanted to of it. And had a good time with that. But I can talk about that a little, but I am more interested in your thoughts, given that it was fresh eyes on it. So, yeah. I guess Tiny. What do you think?
I'll take that away. So I had a really good time with this game. I'm glad that you recommended it. It is, immersive sims are something that are so cool, and that I think I have only heard tell of how great the originals are. I've never actually played any of them, but from what I understand, Prey is a good successor in the genre. And so I played about 12 hours, 11.7 hours, according to Game Pass, in the past month. And so I got a pretty good feel for it, though I have not beaten it. So I think we'll discuss some plot points. The game's been out since 2017. So
yeah, but I can't talk about. I can't talk about some of the bigger plot points.
Well, I'm just saying, Chad, if you want to spoil things, you're free to. But for me, I'll talk about what I know.
Okay. But don't read chat then.
I'm gonna read chat. I don't care. My point being, I think the storytelling in the game was really good. I like that. I immediately kind of knew something was up because when you first wake up in the game, it's like you're going to your first day of work at this big company. And then you find out that you've been going to your first day of work at that big company for a while because you're stuck in a Groundhog Day experiment where they perpetually make you think that it's your first day and then wiping your memory and then doing it all over again.
So did it click with you why your memory is getting wiped?
Yeah, because of the neuromods. So in that universe, you have neuromods that can augment your memories and your talents. So like if you wanted to learn how to play the guitar, you could install a guitar neuromod and you would know how to do it instantly. The problem being when the neuromod is uninstalled, your memory defaults to when it was originally installed.
Yeah.
So if you installed it, lived for 3 months, uninstalled it, you would effectively lose 3 months of your life. So then that really, it's very interesting because it puts you as the player in a perspective of you know nothing, right? You are effectively that character walking into this world with no memories and no understanding of what's going on. And then it pits you against yourself because there's an AI version of you saying, hey, buddy, we got to blow up the space station. And so it's a really interesting exploration of, like, quite literally, do you trust yourself? And do you trust yourself enough to commit suicide?
So I have a. When I talk about there being there being twists and spoilers, I will ask. Yeah. Let's see. Nova talking about January there. Did you meet the others?
I met December,
Yep.
which leads me to believe that January is the first in a series of backups, and that essentially your mind has changed at a certain point. But I won't speculate too much on that. But it is worth noting that January is also red. It's a red operator. So the red January, I don't know. If you're going to try to blow up the proverbial space station that is this podcast, but if you do, at least give me some cool alien psychic powers first. But I'll stop talking about the story there and let Red give his thoughts before we kind of move into just the different elements of the game.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah. Okay. So, for some reason, I thought this game was much older than 2017, and I can't give you a good idea on why.
Because there is a Prey from 2007.
Yeah.
Okay, that would explain it.
So
that is completely unrelated.
Well, it's not completely unrelated. That's the interesting thing. So there's Prey and Prey 2, and then when the studio went to make Prey 2017, it was actually just its own thing entirely, its own new thing. And the publisher said, "Well, we have the rights to Prey, so we're going to put the Prey name on it."
When I say unrelated, I just mean story-wise. No,
Yeah.
I know about the license stuff. Just
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
In terms of that story, in no way connects, so you don't need to engage with it if you don't.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I've been having a decent amount of fun with the game, more than I thought I would. Because usually it's been a while since an arcane game has hooked me. And I'm not gonna say I'm hooked by Prey. Uh, because unfortunately, the cool powers will get you in trouble with the law, and by law, I mean turrets.
Learn some hacking. Then you can have the best of both.
But I did play a few hours of Moon Crash, and I think I like that way more.
Moon Crash is really good.
I didn't play any Moon Crash. I will need to get around to that and possibly do like a follow-up video or segment on that.
So,
If I recall, it's more of a roguelike experience.
So yeah. So big two things you need to know about Moon Crash. It's roguelite, light. So there's some elements where like you have characters that you can play as, and then you do a run, and the goal is to escape from the moon. But also, as far as I can tell, you don't go on any spacewalks, which is awesome because I fucking hate space in this game.
That is on my list of gripes, which I would like to move into if you don't have any further comments on the story.
Not really on the story, other than unfortunately we live in a post-Prey 2017 world, and I think I already know the big plot twist before I ever played the game.
Yeah.
Wait, what do you mean the big plot twist being the opening or the other big plot twist?
The ending.
Okay. Yeah, there's a final big plot twist as well. So
but that said, I do have some gripes with the game.
Yeah.
It's great, but just a couple of things. One, hate the save system. An immersive sim is good because it's immersive. Constantly having to remember to quick save breaks the immersion, right? And so I really don't like that because there were several moments when I was playing the game that I had these I was very into it, I was very immersed, and then I would die and I would realize I hadn't saved in 10 minutes, and it was very not good. Also, I just realized that this B-roll that I spent literally 3 hours putting together last night, I forgot to start playing because this wasn't supposed to be our first segment. Whoops. Well, now you can see the B-roll, gang. Hope you enjoy. But additionally, some of the like stealth in the game kind of pissed me off at times. Like, you get the bolt caster, which is awesome because it's a Nerf gun crossbow. And I love a Nerf gun crossbow. And so the whole point of the bolt caster is that it's supposed to be to distract enemies. But I could never get the damn thing to work. Every time I tried to use the bolt caster, it would send, like, it would immediately aggro the enemies on me, right? Rather than where I shot the bolt caster, which is where you would want to use that. So I found it to be ultimately kind of useless.
So the bolt caster, unfortunately, now I could be wrong. I never tried to use it to distract enemies. One of the primary purposes of it is actually to activate things at distance because the bolts are supposed to be conductive on the tips.
Right, so they can work with touchscreens. Yeah, I saw an email about that. You learn a lot in this game through emails.
So sometimes there are places where like you can't get in the room, but you've got a crack where you can shoot the screen that'll open the door for you and things like that.
My final gripe, though, and then I'm done with the gripes. This is the
No, go ahead. I was just clarifying that in case you go back to it.
But my final one is just that sometimes the game does feel a little bit clunky, and it can take a minute to get into. So if you take a break between your play sessions and you come back to it, you can find it easy to bounce back off of. Yeah. But once you're in the rhythm and everything's flowing well, it's really enjoyable. And I have a bunch of notes about all the things that I liked. I just wanted to get through that brief segment of things I didn't.
I'll let Red go ahead, but I actually have I love the game, but I have some gripes still.
Yeah,
it's not like my favorite game of all time. It's just a unique one that I thought was a good entry for this.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
it is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I'll echo that it's the stealth part of the game does not feel great. Yes, it is a gun going off, but why call it a silenced pistol when it feels like it doesn't do anything silent?
Yeah, it's gonna aggro everyone in the room regardless.
And the bolt caster. Here's the interesting thing about the bolt caster is that in the Moon Crash DLC, the roguelite thing, you can get elemental variations of the bolt caster where it can proc field elemental effects.
Okay, like that's pretty cool.
You could get a fire bolt caster, and there'd be a puddle of oil, and hit that oil with the bolt caster to light it aflame and burn enemies, or something like that. I want to talk about the weapons. The glue gun is clearly like the unique weapon, the poster child weapon of the game, and it's like I think
the Q beam would offer some competition there.
Yes, but the Q beam isn't the weapon held in any artwork. Now, is it?
Oh, I forgot the glue gun was in any artwork.
So the glue gun, I went through a love it, hate it, love it cycle with it. When you realize like, oh, I can just use this to parkour everywhere.
Yeah, love it. Platforming is
love it. But then you get a shotgun and you're like, I'll never use a glue gun again. And then like, I only used it to freeze like very, very annoying enemies. Like most regular enemies, I wouldn't bother freezing. I don't even think I bothered freezing, like unless there were more than like 5 mimics ganging up on me. I didn't.
No, after a while, it definitely. After you get accustomed to the mimics, you use it a lot less for them unless they're crowding you, and it does genuinely become like the platforming gun or I need someone to stop moving.
And I found it useful for this big motherfucker shoots lightning out of him gun.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Right? I need this guy to not be anywhere near me.
When the enemy density cycles to multiple large enemies, the glue gun is suddenly really good again.
Yeah. I also really liked using it against the mind controlled people because I would just glue gun them, stun gun them, and then they wouldn't die. They would just be knocked out. And then they would usually end up dying anyway. But I tried. Yeah. I tried to not kill them.
Yeah. We talked about the silenced pistol a little bit. It's just I really don't know what you're doing with the silence pistol unless like you're conserving shotgun ammo. Uh, the
It's
shotgun is the
yeah.
only weapon I fully upgraded.
No, I
I
did say.
I
I mean,
do
not this one, but
agree. I do think that the silence pistol, which Red January in chat, why are silence pistols so damn cool? I agree. They're definitely the coolest. And just for style factor, it's nice. But I would use the silence pistol whenever I was too afraid to get close enough to use the shotgun.
yes,
Yeah, yeah, I can see that.
the shotgun has always been my main damage dealer, but the pistol is a ranged option, which is
So there's an interesting thing about Moon Crash.
and
There's
ammo's a
an
little bit more readily available. Sorry.
there's another melee weapon in Moon Crash that is not at all in the base game, and it is
Hmm.
basically an energy knife.
Yo, that sounds sick.
It's like I forget if it's called like the psychoactive slicer or some psycho shit like that. But basically, you can charge it up and launch a beam, or you can just do slashes with it, and it feels really good to use. Wish that was in the base game because it's tight as fuck.
Yeah, no. Well, Moon Crash came later, so it gets a little extra. Um, yeah, no. If you enjoy the game, Tiny, I do advise like checking out Moon Crash if you get this because it's very good. So I kind of have a different perspective on some of this because I have played through the whole game before. So I actually thought I would engage a little New Game Plus, and New Game Plus is fun. Basically, same start that you'd normally have. You don't get your New Game Plus stuff until you get the Psychoscope in your office, and that's when like, oh, now I've got my perk tree and everything back. Weapons not so much though. Well, I say that actually. Your weapon upgrades remain, I believe. I there's some things that I think enemy variety can well. I'm watching the footage at the same time. Like operators and a lot of mechanical enemies add some extra enemy density and some variety in there. I think the Typhon, like, there are probably some, or there are definitely some that y'all didn't get to see because they show up later. But some are
There's
annoying,
some
some are
scary
fine.
bitches in
Oh.
there. The nightmare.
Yes, there are.
Oh my god.
But I think some of it is just because I'm going back to it. And so I've been through it. I don't have the same. I'm going in. I approach a lot of things with horror themes as like, nah, I'm the monster. If I get a shotgun, oh no, I'm taking control. And I don't know. I had a good time with it again, but going back, like, there's something that surprised me, or not. I don't know how much I'd advise it. Not that it's a bad time, but it's if you've got all the upgrades, you're breezing through areas. You're able to unlock most any or hack any lock if you've already gotten that tree unlocked, which I did that immediately in my original playthrough. So all to say, like, I think that original run through where you're having to make more difficult choices in terms of what perks you want to choose and stuff like that is, I think that's the better way to play it. It's still very fun though, and like one thing that I really enjoy in the game that it's in a few others, but this one it was really prominent is I like the UI elements of like if you're interacting with the machine, they're all touchscreen stuff, and it doesn't pull you out of what you're doing to go mess with a menu.
Yeah,
Unless if
which
it's like your stat tree and stuff.
the one problem with that becomes if you're like me and you play with a really wide FOV,
Oh
then
yeah.
some of that
yeah.
text is you gotta really squint for it. But it's fine. I mean, that's my choice to be an idiot.
I like the spacewalks in the game and the control there. It's just that I will say So I don't know if you got far enough to see the entire space station. Like changes will occur throughout your run. The place gets worse. There
Yeah.
are more and more Typhon, and sometimes you'll revisit areas to some scary surprises.
You know, yeah, I noticed that
Yeah.
just going back through areas I had already been through.
Yeah.
The
Just because you clear space doesn't mean it's safe.
spacewalking I didn't love simply because it sort of negates a lot of your ability. Like you can't really be stealthy on a
Yeah, yeah.
spacewalk.
So the trick with spacewalk, I tend to like if people attempt to do a 3D thing, or like have you move around in 3 dimensions feels weird because technically you're always doing that, but you know you can fly. You're in Minecraft creative mode. I the use of the spacewalk is that is a fast travel system in a sense.
Right.
Yeah, you just get once you've been to an area, just make sure you hit that airlock and you can go outside and just get back, which is very useful. But it gets real dangerous out there.
It's useful, but God, do I hate that? I just absolutely hate spacewalking.
Yeah, I would like to move to something that I really enjoyed though.
Yeah,
And that is the puzzles in this game.
I think the puzzles are very fun.
So like, you know, a lot of the time I don't like when a game's storytelling is done through logs and emails and that kind of thing. I really don't mind it in Prey, and I think it actually adds to it. One, because those are not always just there to give flavor to whatever area you're in, but also to tell you and give you hints about what, you know, loot caches and treasures might be nearby.
Mhm.
A couple of my favorite puzzles. One is which I think this was in the B-roll earlier. There's an office with a safe with a post-it note on it. That post-it note has 2 elements. And I was like, I bet if I look up the atomic number for these elements and put them together, that's the code. And it was.
Yeah.
And that made me feel super smart. And like, that is the thing about Prey, is that when you engage with its puzzles, it makes you feel so clever. Another one was an email about a coffee mug that needed to weigh exactly 170 grams, and then a separate email requesting a scale that sends an on-off signal when exactly 170 grams is applied. So you search around the lab and find the mug, put it on the scale, boom, you get a reward.
I was going to ask you about that because there's another way to discover that if you aren't reading the emails, they hammer it a little harder in one of the cutscenes, or when you're in that room, because it's a looking glass room. You can actually, one of the playbacks, the head scientist asks his assistant, or he kind of pushes her away, gets her to leave the lab, and then you watch him go open it.
Oh, no kidding. I didn't find that.
Yeah,
but that's what's so cool about it.
It takes like a solid minute after you would.
Oh yeah, no,
this is the end of the information of this video. Time to move on with the game. But if you,
you
walk around, if you keep following him, he just walks over there and does it.
Yeah, you gotta take that second. Like, the video's not done yet. Why isn't the video done yet?
About that periodic table safe code. In like the next room is a periodic table. You don't even have to Google it.
Oh, no kidding.
Nope.
I didn't even notice that. That's amazing.
I did want to mention with the stealth stuff that, yeah, unfortunately it does seem to kind of take the stance of like, well, if you're stealthing in this game, unlike maybe a Dishonored or something, since that I think is the most apt comparison. In Dishonored, like, no, you can get a crossbow in that game that silently kills people. In this, it's you're either in stealth and you're trying to avoid combat, or you're entering combat.
And the way that I play that is the way that I play every game
that
has
I didn't know you chose
stealth.
to kill that guy. Interesting.
Oh, yeah. If you read his file, he's like a rapist.
Oh, no, he absolutely is.
He's terrible. So I was
you can make other decisions there. Those decisions, sometimes there are decisions you can make in the game that sometimes do like lead to different quest progression. It's
For our podcast listeners, there was B-roll of me killing a prisoner. and that's
Yeah,
what
sorry.
prompted that. But anyways, yeah,
Yeah.
but I do love that too. I love that this seems like the kind of game that honestly only gets better on the replay because you get to see all of the branching ways that your decisions could have made impacts, which I think is really cool.
It yeah, and honestly, like with the New Game Plus thing, it's not that I think it was terrible by any means. It's just I mean, I've talked about this before with you, where like if I'm doing a Souls playthrough, I still like I want to make all my choices again in terms of stat allocation because I enjoy the push and pull of like, well, where do I want to put these points? So I never go in and make a real proper build because those are like far more you plan that out, and I like to dynamically choose things as I go. Which is why I like a lot of roguelites. Let me see. Anything else? Um,
I've
Tiny,
got one more point.
Yep.
Did you pick up on how big of an ass your character actually is?
It seemed like it. Yeah, reading through everything and all of that, it seems like you're not the kind of guy that you would want to work for. I'll put it
Well,
that way.
sometimes there are things that there are occasionally times where your coworkers or employees didn't know what you were up to because those emails about the operator parts that you keep asking for,
Yes.
that's to make January
That
and December.
you know,
the others.
I didn't put that together that was to make January.
Yeah, that's why you're being secretive and taking those things because you're putting your own together. And so
There's some things you can find that are either predate either you losing your memory or are within like the first few cycles. You are clearly an ass.
Oh, I'm not saying necessarily that I'm saying there might be some more nuance at times.
Yeah,
with
well,
some
there's one email
pieces.
about a coworker that you slept with and then broke it off, and she thought you broke it off because she has a degenerative neurological disease, and you actually did it just because you thought it would be easier since you're going to lose all your memories. But you didn't tell her that.
So one of the things that's interesting that we didn't really talk about so much is the personality drift that can occur. That's why that final test you do at the beginning is well, actually I was going to ask, did you ever well, now the logs tell you why the tests are the way they are at the beginning, like hide in this room.
Yeah, I loved that was one of the opening sequence that really charmed me and kind of hooked me because like they're actively commenting on what you are doing because essentially for those who haven't played, when you start out, you're being sent through a series of tests as a part of being a quote unquote new hire, which we've already talked about was like kind of a farce to begin with, right? And so like they're actively like they put you in a room with nothing but a chair and ask you to hide. And if you hide behind the chair, he whispers to the other scientist. He's like, is he hiding behind the chair? And yeah, I loved that. I loved how reactive they were to your actions.
Because if I remember correctly, so the expectation is that you're supposed to be testing out the neuromods that would let you do things like use the Typhon abilities like shapeshift. And they're telling you go off instinct. Because the expectation is, well, you'll just shapeshift into the chair. And that's a lie.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, that's why those tests are that way. All those tests, or the first 3 tests, are all things of they're trying to get you to use your Typhon abilities, but you didn't actually have those neuromods installed as a part of, if I remember correctly, January, trying to break you out of that. So you didn't have them installed that day, and that's why they're not working right. But yeah, that's why the tests are the way they are. Because when you want you across the room as fast as possible, is use that dash.
But one gameplay thing I wanted to talk about before we move on from this, is just that the resource economy I thought was really well done. Like you never feel like you have enough to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
but you're also never without recourse. Like, I never found myself in a place where I was completely out of ammo and completely out of options, but I constantly found myself in situations where I wasn't using maybe the optimal gun to do something because I didn't want to burn the ammo it took to do it.
In worst case, you got a sturdy wrench. I just wanted to say, because I got myself off track earlier, as I tend to, I wanted to mention that final test you take at the beginning, as you do personality tests, like an 8-block test and a few trolley problem questions, and a big component of that is because they're trying to gauge your personality drift. And I know that I believe there is a part where you can see your past results. And yeah, so the idea is that you've been having so much personality drift that different phases, different versions of you had different ideas as to what they want, how things should be resolved on the space station, which is fun.
Yeah. All in
I don't
all, I
know.
really loved it, and I am going to play more of it. I'm eventually going to beat it. But yeah, I really enjoyed this game.
We see a full review at some point, possibly.
Yeah, I'm hanging on to the footage.
Yeah, as I say, you got a lot of footage. That's what I was thinking about it. Any final thoughts for you, Red?
I don't know that I'm going to finish the game, but I'll probably play more Moon Crash.
And I was going to ask, or not ask, but so for our next game, Red is choosing it, and go ahead.
That's right. I'm choosing the game Solar Ash. And I wish you had queued me up a little bit better there, or at least had me a little bit of an alley-oop.
Look, sometimes we do segues, sometimes we don't.
But
sometimes I was supposed to set up the trailer for Solar Ash, and sometimes I forgot to do that.
Yeah, so Solar Ash is made by Heart Machine, and they made Hyperlight Drifter. And they're coming out with a new cooperative game soon. But Solar Ash, if you want me to sum it up, is Sonic Adventure 2 meets Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah.
Okay, you can't tell me that. The law says you're not allowed to get me that hype.
Okay.
So you just set my expectations through the fucking roof, because I mean, I like Shadow of the Colossus. I played a little bit of it, but I've played so much Sonic Adventure 2. I've lived a lifetime in the Chao Garden.
Okay, well, this game is not about the Chao Garden.
Well, yeah, obviously. Yes, no, I gotta play Baby Bay for that. Isn't that the name of it?
Bobo
Bay. Bobo Bay. Bobo Bay.
Bobo Bay.
Yeah.
I gotta play Bobo Bay for that. But still, the promise
Michael,
of what if
you are
Sonic
correct.
Adventure 2 actually worked good.
Yeah.
Michael Huey, Sonic Adventure was the incorrect game to praise.
You're absolutely right. I'm not going to argue with anyone. It's not a good game.
I was going to say all the wandering of Shadow of the Colossus combined with all of the intricacy of the Knuckles puzzle segments, the perfect game.
Oh God, no. Let's get a little more specific. It's the Sonic Shadow portion.
The fun parts, yeah.
Yes.
I love the idea of combining the Knuckles sections with the non-boss segments of Shadow of the Colossus.
And
it's just a lot of riding your horse and looking for jumps.
And it is on Game Pass, and I'm going to link it in chat for those who want to look at it. But it is free right now through Game Pass.
Oh no! Send that link to me.
Yeah,
I'll put it in chat because I did disable chat linking on account of all the bots.
You know
if
what?
Anything, post it. Put on Twitter.
Okay, yeah, I'll drop this in chat. And there we go.
And just to repeat, that is...
Nope, that's a link to Discord. Well, damn it.
Sorry, I'm losing over Michael Huey talking about it's getting lost in the woods with Dr. Robotnik's laser noise going off forever. That's a good game. Before we fully move on, I did want to... we had a question from Michael Huey, actually. You had said that this... it's been a minute since an arcade game grabbed you. And he had asked which arcade game arcane game did grab you previous? I was curious as well.
So far, it's only been the first Dishonored.
You know,
I need to play the other Dishonoreds. I have not.
Okay, I was about to ask,
tried
did you
them.
play Dishonored 2? Because I like Dishonored 1 quite a good deal. I played a lot of it. But I think I like the location of Dishonored 2 and the fact that Dishonored 2 has 2 protagonists you can play as, so you either play as Corvo or his daughter. Play as Corvo, you have all the powers from the first game. His daughter has a different set of powers, which is nice for replayability.
Yeah. That was probably the last arcane game and the first arcane game that grabbed me. I have not purchased for whatever reason. I think going through transitive states of my life, moving around from colleges and stuff, I didn't play the other games, the other Dishonored games.
I never
remembered
played
the other day that never played Pokemon XD because of Hurricane Katrina. Sometimes things happen.
I never played any of the Dishonoreds. I played a little bit of the first one. I never played any of the others, so that's something I need to go back to myself.
You probably enjoy them. I think you'd enjoy them quite a bit. I've been meaning to do another Dishonored 2 playthrough.
Well, I think that is a wrap on book club for this week. So I guess I will move us out of the video zone and back into the regular zone.
I mean, we're really on the couch no matter what, aren't we?
We are. You know, here's the thing. Is there a couch in the couch dimension? Or is it simply a dimension of couches?
Are you
the couches
asking
might be
me
an illusion.
A question about are we in a dimension with a bunch of couches or the one couch we're all sitting on right now?
What I'm asking you is that couch in the couch dimension or is it of the couch dimension? Is the very fabric that creates the couch dimension also the couch? Is the couch illusory or is it real?
Let me ask you a question. Are you in the universe or are you one or part of the universe?
Exactly.
Okay. I do have some other things I want to bring up today other than the book club. Game club. Once again, we're gonna have to figure out a name for that. I want to ask you, or I want to pitch some questions at you. Okay. Smash Bros is coming out, or when they're doing their DLCs, there's always questions of who will get added. There's so much hype all the time about different characters, and I think other companies want that heat. We got Warner Brothers out here now with multiverses again, and I would want to ask you, what are we gonna do for Disney? Who is on your Disney Smash Brothers roster? Tiny?
Okay, so I'll take the ball on this one. I actually hate this question, and I find it like actively repulsive because, like, oh, we're really going to do this? We're really going to be cute about Disney? Disney is a multinational media conglomerate and is sanitizing and dumbing down art. They stand for everything that is wrong with the entertainment industry, and they are replacing artistically valuable with commercially successful pieces of media. I can't stand them. They're as close to evil as a company can get. Their entire business model is effectively to indoctrinate children by flooding the child-friendly media market and then selling their childhoods back to them. I can't believe you would ask me this question on this podcast, and obviously my answer is Luigi.
I want to come here, viewer. Come here close. I want to show you something. Take a look here behind this curtain. You'll see Tiny wrote this like a month ago.
No, I didn't. I didn't read everything I wrote. If I had read everything I wrote, we would have been here for 10 minutes.
Oh, I know. I just had to bring up your.
Thanks for undercutting the bit. Great podcast. That's what makes it. This is such a good show today.
Okay.
Anyways, so technically Star Wars is Disney, so those guys may play like Fire Emblem characters with the specific inputs. Does that help?
So I wanted to.
Wait.
I don't know if it helped, but it was
So wait, you're saying just Jedi or Fire Emblem?
So like in Smash Bros, the Fire Emblem characters played like directional bees had like different inputs you could do with directional bee would do a different string of attacks.
Yeah.
So I
Like
would say
different
maybe
combos. Yeah.
yeah, I was saying maybe the Star Wars guys could play like the same vein of the
Yeah,
Smash Bros.
Star Wars guys encompasses a lot of guys. So my first thought was stormtroopers, and I was like, how the fuck would that work? But then I realized you're talking about lightsabers.
Lightsabers.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Do you gonna give them all counters? The down B counter?
I mean, technically, doesn't the lightsaber have effective, well, not really a counter, but a reflector built into it? Like, pretty much.
Yeah, sure. That's easier than explaining it.
I see y'all with your one note characters. I came with a team. See, I want to bring some classic Disney characters into the mix. Number one, we got the Simpsons. We got the whole. I think we pull them all together
Simpsons
as
have
one
been in
group.
a fighting game, haven't they?
Not in a Disney fighting game.
Well, yeah, but I feel like maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like there were a bunch of like half Smash clones out there for years. There have been, and I feel like the Simpsons were in one. Maybe I'm completely wrong.
I think you primarily would be Homer, but your attack calling members of the family to help out.
That would be good. That would be good.
But a lot of my Disney characters are ensemble characters. But we also got Bob's Burgers. I think that's another good property here. I think Bob and his family, burger-based attacks. I really want to see. Maybe a Jimmy Pesto like me costume. I think would be strong.
Yeah, because Jimmy Pesto, let's be real, Jimmy Pesto does not deserve his own character. He is definitely a
Jimmy Pesto doesn't even have a voice actor anymore because his voice actor is at January 6th. So
I forgot about that.
I never forget. And classic Disney property, Family Guy. Now, technically, we could open this up to the McFarlane verse, but right now I want to be conservative on it. When it comes to Disney properties,
why did you ask a Disney-related question? You wrote this. Why did you ask a Disney-related question and then answer with all of these, like, tertiary properties?
These are all owned by Disney.
I mean,
now. And they are all Disney properties that are popular today and in the mainstream. I don't see the problem here.
Well, describe your Family Guy moveset.
Now,
the Family Guy house would make a great stage, by the way.
Yeah. We're gonna be in Quahog. I think that you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and say actually additional fighter, Shadow Fighter for Peter Griffin is the chicken. Giant Chicken's gonna be in the mix.
You think that's just like an alternate skin? Because technically, when you watch
it's his Dark Samus.
Yeah.
Also, one moment. I had to get behind the curtain real quick. Are you coming at me for having a bit when you had a bit?
Stop coming behind the curtain. We're live right now.
I didn't take them with me. They can't hear me. Anyways. Okay, but to put the bit aside, even though I did say within the bounds of Disney characters.
I mean, they count. They all technically count.
They all count. They're all Disney princesses to me. Also, I'd love John Benjamin to do some voice acting for a fighting game. Which I guess technically he's kind of doing a little bit of that for Boy Kills World. Don't know if you saw the trailers of that movie. He does a voice. Actually, he does do a voice for an arcade machine in that fighting games. So yeah, I guess so. Anyways, sorry, I was thinking about John Benjamin. I love John. Let's do a John Benjamin podcast. That's what this is. John Benjamin is actually instrumental to my next topic. Because I was going to ask you, how would you build your own metaverse? And I would like to, So there's a point to this question. I guess I'll very quickly touch on it. Japan has introduced, or has a Japanese government, they have commissioned a metaverse to combat loneliness. And you are not allowed to talk to anyone on it. They have guards there to make sure you don't.
This is real. I know I said we were doing no news this week, but this is actually real.
This is real.
This is not like a dumb bit. This is for real.
And it's very funny to me. The reason it's built like this is it's built off another software, Gather. And so instead of just making it in-house, they just kind of took that, which means they can't just disable voice chat and talking altogether. So instead, they just have a bunch of people sit around, and if they try to talk to each other, they'll get a warning or a ban.
The thing is, I totally understand this. This is actually a good rule to have, because I tried to do a Gather office for my work from home friends, and it actually was really cool. A lot of us had a good time, but we had one guy that just wouldn't shut the fuck up while everybody else was trying to work. And we had a rule, right? Like, if your door is closed, that means that I'm working. Don't come in here, right? And then this guy would either just come in anyway or stand outside your door. And then we had to stop doing it because no one could get anything done. So that said, I think the Japanese government's onto something with the no talking rule. You are still allowed to use text chat for the Japanese government. But I think that they foresaw the audio problems that would come with 100 people chatting at the same time. But that was assuming anyone was going to use this thing in the first place.
But see, you think that, he's just talking about John Benjamin for no reason. No, because for my metaverse, I'm calling in an alumni from John Benjamin Has a Van. That's right. I want to create Nathan Fielder's metaverse.
I forgot Nathan Fielder was in John Benjamin Has a Van.
Yep. And
Damn.
I want to make a metaverse. Technically, I want to fund a metaverse and let Nathan Fielder do what he will. I want him to inflict anxiety upon more people.
I like it. I
want a world in which we have too many games that are trying to hide certain hostilities from the player and, try to dress it up. Technically, you're always under attack from microtransactions and the like. But no, this will be maybe the first truly adversarial game.
I would like to raise
where the game is trying to psychologically torment you.
I would like to see that and raise you Arby's Sword Art Online. In Arby's Sword Art Online,
I hate everything you just said.
Elaborate, please. I need to know how these...
Arby's Sword Art Online is just like your typical corporate metaverse, where it is mostly just JPEGs of a real-life Arby's that you can sort of halfway walk around in, with the exception that to play it, you must hook your body up to a machine, and if you die in the Arby's, you die in real life.
This is... you might... I think I'll give you some funding for that. I think you've passed my investor test. I'm paying attention to this. What you got for us, Thread?
I have nothing because I apparently missed this question, but I need to return to this Arby's thing because
so
I don't know.
Arby's Sword Art Online TM.
Yeah. So if we're gonna be pedantic, Dot Hack did it first, but
did you not? Never mind.
But we could have that discussion at another point in time. But what I can go into an Arby's and die right now. In fact, there's a very high chance of that happening.
If you die in the Arby's, you die in real life is true, whether it be a video game.
I'm trying to figure out what unique experience you're giving me.
But this is not. I would like to make this
the
clear.
Unique experience is that you're trapped in an Arby's universe.
Yeah, well, and this is not an openly hostile environment. Like, say, if I did Waffle House Sword Art Online, that's a different story, right? Because that is a brawling-based environment.
Yeah, that's true.
This
The
specifically
Arby's is PvP enabled.
The thing is, it's just like a regular Arby's. So anything that goes in a regular Arby's can go in Arby's Sword Art Online. There's just nothing inherently hostile about it.
Because in Sword Art, apparently, not the biggest Sword Art head here. They're trapped in the machines. Do you also intend to trap people in this virtual Arby's?
I would like to say that
this is a legal safe place. Laws don't apply in the couch
the
dimension.
views of Arby's Incorporated do not reflect the views of the couch dimension. And yes, you will be trapped. Cool. You can only get out if you eat 100 bacon cheddar sandwiches in the span of an hour. But in true metaverse fashion, the bacon cheddar sandwich mechanic has not been fully implemented and doesn't really work that well. So you'll have to wait for a future patch of Arby's Sword Art Online.
Do you mean
to be able to
like in real life
Arby's
where the sandwich hasn't been properly implemented?
Correct.
Okay. So we've I guess we'll move on to, we had some user submitted questions, or fan submitted questions, which I will say, apologies, meant to get to these last week, but we're running a little long. So I kind of want to hit some of these.
Go for it.
And this one is from Michael, definitely not Michael Huey. How do you prioritize your backlog? Now, personally for me, I tend to go by, like, I've got my mainstays. I play a good amount of Destiny 2. And sometimes I've got some, like, I'll go through eras of I'm doing a good deal of Minecraft, and then I'll drop off of that for a bit. But Minecraft is a common one I come back to. But usually I have some other stuff in the mix. There'll usually be like some mainstays, some things I'm revisiting, and then I'll introduce some new stuff. And usually the new stuff is, if it grabs me, then I am like, I've been playing a bunch of Astroneer. That's just a game I randomly had been meaning to get to. Eventually tried, grabbed me, cleared it. But in new releases, like, if it's a hot enough thing, that's obviously some of my time. Depending on how much it initially grabs me, it might land on the backlog. It might keep me in until I'm all the way through. It varies. What about y'all?
Yeah, I would like to answer this one with I don't. Because my life exists in a perpetual state of excitement and satisfaction from novelty. And then when that novelty wears off, a deep uncomfortability and ennui sets in. And then in that state, I desperately search for my next hyperfixation and source of dopamine, which means starting various games in my Steam library for 10 to 15 minutes at a time, only to realize that I'm not really feeling them. And then I just repeat that until something inevitably clicks. And then I binge that thing, and then the cycle repeats itself. So that's how I approach my backlog and my life.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the same thing, but not as depressing. I'm not good at playing a backlog. I'm the same. I tend to hyperconsume a game when it comes out, and then if I don't hyperconsume it when it comes out, it's gonna be like, it goes from 100% chance of me playing it to like a less than 10% chance of me playing it. I have 25 hours in Jedi Survivor, and I doubt I'm ever going to finish the game. 6 hours into Tales of Arise, which is not a lot for a JRPG, but I just do not want to play the game. And this one is going to hurt everyone listening. I have 3 hours in Resident Evil 4 Remake, and I do not want to play the game anymore.
You don't hurt as bad when you come to expect it.
I haven't played Resident Evil 4 Remake, but from everything that I know, what the fuck?
it didn't. I'm not saying it's a bad game. It just didn't click for
No, I
me.
just didn't click. I mean, I do get that. I do get that. There's a lot of good games that like just don't. I can't. Maybe if I sat down and forced myself to play them for a few hours. This actually happened to me with Prey yesterday. I was doing a little bit more like one last play session before the show, and at first I was really not feeling it, and I was really like, I'm just kind of making myself do this. But then once I got my teeth into it enough, I didn't want to stop to go edit the B-roll, but I did inevitably and unfortunately have to. But yeah, so I do feel that. Sometimes it takes a minute for something to catch on with me, but sometimes it just won't.
The
I
only
have that
game I
happen
think
with.
I'm gonna go back and finish is Sea of Stars.
You know how many fucking times I've started up No Man's Sky?
Actually, that I'm going to be playing that later today for astroneer reasons. So let's see. Do we want to close this out sooner or later? Basically,
Wait,
I'm asking 5 or 10 minutes.
Let's do
or
one more audience question, and then we'll take her out back and shoot her.
I didn't know if you wanted to hit up trailers or if you want to talk about what we've been playing.
The thing is, I would love to do the trailers, but for reasons I will explain to you guys later, I didn't have the chance to set up the video tool and everything. So while there were things I wanted to show, they'll have to wait till next week.
Well, that one's not waiting until next week. It was the final trailer drop today. But
we'll watch it next week.
Just to say, it's probably not as relevant, but it's not a big deal. Anyways, we will do. We had a question from Ashy Crown Sparrowlarks. In the way that CRPGs got a boost from Baldur's Gate 3, what genre of video game do you think could use a similar revitalization? Why? And I want to come at left field. I want a revival. Like, don't get me wrong, a lot of party games, but I want more people going for that Mario Party heat, and including Mario Party. Like, we got Superstars, no add-ons. They've been quiet. Like, I love
that
a
shit
good
needs
party
DLC,
game.
man. And it would be so easy. They could just add new mini games and maps.
I know,
and
man.
It would be fine.
It kills me because I'd like some more. Like, there's some indie things that are very good, but I don't feel like we get nearly as many like from
Pummel
the mainstream.
Party's not the same. It's not as. It's more like directly aggressive and less, because the fun of Mario Party to me is that it's in this veneer of like child friendly and like, oh, everything's nice here, it's Mario Land, and then you're beating the shit out of each other. Whereas Pummel Party is more just straightforward with beating the shit out of each other. I don't know.
I like the contrast. I like the weird.
Yeah.
I love that you're going around Mario Party Space Station and you're beating each other's asses, and Yoshi keeps showing up on screen getting his back blown out. It's great. It's a beautiful mix of. I wonder. It's a beautiful stew.
Hey, everybody, right now, give me your best Yoshi noise.
I was gonna do that, but I was afraid it was too close to fall.
Wow.
Ooh, that was a good one.
Yeah,
hey!
no one hears the next Yoshi.
All pretty good Yoshi noises.
Were they?
Our panel of judge, yes. The kind of the genre of game I would like to see get a boost is whatever genre we want to call Mega Man Battle Network. Not because they have great stories, just I miss that kind of gameplay. Part deck builder, part grid based strategic combat with like turn by turn, where it's like you get a random amount of cards, so to speak, and you can spin those during your turn while you move around on a grid to attack enemies that are on a same size grid. And it's fun, and there's not that many games that come close. I know One Step from Eden has like a very fast-paced, very fast-paced version of this gameplay, but it's missing like the puzzle dungeon aspect where you have to run around a little dungeon and solve puzzles and do random encounters, and then you can fight the boss. And then you build your deck up as you like beat enemies and buy new cards and stuff. And I want more of those. And before anybody says Star Force, I'll kill you. Star Force is not the same.
What about you, Salt?
Yep, and that's again the wrong name.
Yeah.
I will go with in the vein of Prey. I want more immersive sims. I know we have something of an immersive sim revitalization with Deus Ex, and then Dishonored and Prey, but I really feel like the industry could give us more.
Go play the System Shock remake.
Okay.
It's the birth of the genre, and that's a good remake. It's on Steam. Yeah, what was it? Yeah, I'd say that if you're feeling like wanting more immersive sims, like that's the go-to. Deus Ex is, I mean, the original is, from what I hear, very good. The reboot, Human Revolution's it's fine. And I like Mankind Divided more.
Cool. Well, we'll be back with another Chill Dimension at the end of next month, the end of June, where we'll be talking about Solar Ash. And with that, I think that's our show. So thanks everybody for listening. Did want to throw this out there. We are trying to bring you the best content every single week. And we would appreciate if you would smash that like button. But seriously, if you could, like our videos or rate our podcast or do any number of the horseshit things, really the most important thing you could do for us is if you have friends, tell them about the show, recommend the show. We would really appreciate that. But yeah, Captain, where can the hordes of friends that are going to now listen find us?
You can find us on YouTube at Tiny Big Dude, as well as on podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple, and Amazon by searching Couch.
And you can find us on Twitch every Tuesday at 5:15 p.m. Central Standard Time, because we are trapped here by a wizard. Bum, bum, bum.